Welcome to High Ground. My name is Tanner, and today I'm going to be doing predictions for day number 4 of NAL's third stage of the 2022 season. So 1/3 of the games down. Let's go over the results of day number 3 and my predictions. I got 2 out of 5, which isn't amazing. Obviously, it's less than half, and I got 3 out of 5 on the first 2 days, so bringing my correct predictions to 8 out of 15, which comes out to be, I don't even know what, like 50-something%. A little bit below 60, so definitely looking to improve. I feel like day 4 looks maybe not easy to predict, but I feel pretty good about it. But okay, again, let's talk about day 3. Sonics take down Xset, and I believe this is Xset's worst loss ever in the NAL, or at least this iteration, not considering the old team, which was bad. This new Xset team, so in 2022, I think this is the only time they've lost worse than 3-7. And they have like a 1-7 loss and a 2-7 loss at majors, but again, just talking about the NAL, they've only ever lost 3-7 or had more rounds. They've never not won at least 3 rounds in a game in NAL. And so here's the first time. Sonics looking incredible. The only team to be undefeated at the moment. They seem to be maybe not even firing on all cylinders, but if they're not, I mean, as many cylinders as they're firing on is enough to take down the teams that they've gone up against. And yeah, really impressive showing. It was on Clubhouse. So we've seen like 3 Clubhouse games this stage already, which is, love to see it. Clubhouse is definitely a fan favorite map. But okay, all of this to say that Sonics look really, really good, and Xset obviously don't look great being 1 and 2, but they played against Sonics, who seem really good, and they played against Parabellum, who definitely seem good as well. So hope for Xset going forward, but we'll have to see. And I think I said it, but I did predict this one correct. And then Space Station taking down Parabellum, got this one wrong. I definitely underestimated Space Station, and I also said that I didn't think anyone was going to take Parabellum to border for a while, and they immediately took them to border. I guess they noticed some things that they could capitalize on, and then they did exactly that. Very decisive win for Space Station, putting them into a pretty good spot. They're at like 5th place right now on, I think, 5 points, and there's like 3 teams on 6 points, so they're in a very good spot to jump into the top 4 on the next playdate potentially. And yeah, Parabellum, I mean, maybe time to go to another map. You just got figured out on border. Other teams can probably see what Space Station did, maybe take advantage, and yeah, Parabellum could change up their strategies. But okay, we're probably going to have to see some other maps come out for Parabellum to really determine if they are good or not good enough to make top 4 at the very least. So yeah, I got that one wrong. Astralis versus TSM, also got this one wrong. Astralis took down TSM. This was a hard one to predict. TSM, yeah, they looked great, but they played against Mirage on the first day, and yeah, Mirage looked pretty good, but still, it was a new team's first day. So I think that result sort of makes sense, and TSM also played against Beast Coast, crushed Beast Coast. Beast Coast are definitely the worst team in the league at the moment. And then Astralis, they lost to Mirage, so, TSM beat Mirage, Mirage beat Astralis, so by that set of results, it seemed like maybe TSM should have won. But Astralis, even maybe they struggled the first week, they bounced back. And I guess I also didn't mention they lost to Dark Zero, but this was a close game. So a little bit of a surprising result. You go to Cafe, which is generally a really good map for TSM and not a good map for Astralis. But no, the tables have turned, and Astralis seem to be, I don't know if I want to say they're back after just one best of one. We'll see how well, and this won't even be the biggest indication of things, I wouldn't say, but we'll see how they play next week. And I think they still have a pretty good shot of going to the major by making top 4. And then Dark Zero defeating Beast Coast, not a surprise, but how close it was maybe a little bit surprising, and maybe a little bit less so by way of Hyper departing the roster. Sky's coming on. Sky's actually had a pretty good game on Fragger rolls. Pamba had a great game, really bailed them out. There were maybe a few rounds that Dark Zero won that they could have lost or should have lost, including the very final round, round 11. Pamba Zoo and I think it was Eclipse were in a 2v5, and Pamba gets like a 4K, and they win the round, win the game. So Beast Coast got more rounds in this game than they did in the first 2 games combined. They got 3 rounds in these games, got 4 rounds in this one game. So maybe a good sign for Beast Coast. Maybe it's just Dark Zero, having to adapt to the player change, but we'll see. We'll see going forward. I did predict this one correct, as I think pretty much everyone did. Finally, Mirage takes down Oxygen, another surprise. And yeah, Oxygen just seemed to be struggling with the loss of Laxing with Sweater coming in. A lot of people are saying that maybe Sweater should have replaced Vertical instead, or maybe just no roster change should have happened. But definitely give them more time, but going 0-3, only 1 point on the board, it seems pretty unlikely they'll be able to crack into that top 4. They are going to have to massively turn things around, probably starting with their next game, and just win pretty much all of them, and maybe even in regulation, depending on how close the standings end up being or not being. Yeah, Mirage beat Oxygen, got this one wrong, so definitely Oxygen are stumbling, and Mirage looking pretty good, all things considered. So let's talk about the actual predictions. Parabellum versus Dark Zero. So Parabellum suffered a loss, and Dark Zero got a win, but it was sort of a shaky win for Dark Zero, and they're still probably going to need to do a decent amount of adapting to having Skies on the roster instead of Hyper. And Parabellum, well, I mean, we'll see if they can somehow go to Border for a fourth time. I doubt it, but we'll probably see another map, so we'll see Parabellum's non-Border debut with this roster. And I just think overall Parabellum's looked a little bit better than Dark Zero, and Dark Zero has more things to figure out with the very recent roster change. So I'll go with Parabellum, but I could definitely see this going Dark Zero's way. I think these guys are 1-1 on the year. Parabellum 1 and then Dark Zero 1, so we'll see who comes out on top in stage 3. Then we have Astralis versus Beast Coast, no brainer. I mean, I sort of said that about Astralis versus Mirage, and Mirage ended up winning it, but even more so at the moment, Beast Coast are really struggling, and yeah, they put up like sort of a decent fight against Dark Zero, but you know, it's still not enough so for me to predict them until I at least get a win on the board, but even then, it's questionable. Astralis, yeah, also questionable in their performance, losing to Mirage, losing to Dark Zero. And, you know, beating TSM is obviously a pretty massive turnaround, and I think pretty much every reason to predict Astralis coming into this game. I'm going to go with them. TSM versus Sonics, and another no-brainer. At this point, I'm not going to predict against Sonics until they lose. I mean, I'll just tell you right now. And, of course, I play Beast Coast. But, yeah, as long as they're undefeated, I'm going to keep predicting them. It just seems like a very easy thing to do. TSM, perhaps the team to take them down. We'll have to see. They did lose to Astralis, so the first, like, really good team, you might say, that they played against, they lost to. It was even on Cafe, which I think I said it. This is my second take doing the video, but I think I said it in this take. TSM good on Cafe historically, and Astralis historically bad on it, but okay, flip the script there. And yeah, just, I mean, kind of similar to the last one, but maybe a little bit less. So just about every reason to go with Sonics in this one, but I could definitely see TSM making the upset. Xset versus Oxygen, definitely an exciting one. We have Vertical and Foxay versus Kino and Yaga, and before it was, you know, Laxing, Vertical, and Foxay, but Laxing not around anymore. You could also call it Kino and Yaga versus Dream and Newers, the players that came on to replace them. But Oxygen look really, really shaky. They're 0-3. Xset at least has a win on the board, and they did get pretty devastated by Sonics, but I mean, if Sonics are as good as they have looked thus far, then it adds up. So still gonna go with Xset here, but maybe the 0-3 start will be enough to really light a fire under Oxygen. It has only been, you know, 1 day since the previous game, but so I guess they might not have been able to like actually do stuff to adapt, but in terms of a mentality change, it might be pretty striking, or maybe they'll be very dejected and it'll be an easy win for Xset, we'll have to see. But yeah, gonna go with Xset there. And then Space Station versus Mirage. I did say in the previous video that if maybe Mirage won and Space Station lost, I might go with Mirage here, but both of the teams won, and the Mirage win, yeah, they look pretty good, but Oxygen also really looks struggling. The Space Station win, I'd say, is much more impressive. Maybe not like in a relative sense, because it is, you know, Mirage. You expect them to lose everything based on what's happened recently. But okay, just overall, because Parabellum seemed like a better team than Oxygen. Parabellum beat Oxygen, in fact, and they go back to Border, and Space Station just beats them pretty handily. So with that, the ability to just like read into what they're doing and take them down, it's just, yeah, I thought it was very impressive on Space Station's part. They looked in full control of that game, and Bosco, you know, putting up good numbers, which he hasn't maybe in a little bit. We'll see if he continues to do that going forward. But yeah, Space Station versus Mirage, will they go to Theme Park again? I mean, I really doubt it, but I guess it's possible. If Space Station took Parabellum to Border, maybe they're willing to take Mirage to Theme Park, but I don't think Space Station especially likes Theme Park, so we'll have to see there. But I think I'm going to go with Space Station, and again, I guess predicting against Mirage might come back to bite me, but I think Space Station has looked good enough where I don't feel bad predicting them in this case. So go down the line one more time. I have Parabellum over Dark Zero, Astralis over Beast Coast, Sonics over TSM, Xset over Oxygen, and Space Station over Mirage. So yeah, that's going to do it for my predictions. If you have your own, feel free to leave them below. If you have anything else, feel free to leave it below. Question, comment, concern, suggestion, correction, any of that. And also a like and a subscription would be appreciated. And so with all of that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.